I had a huge wake up call a few years ago when I started investing. And it made me realize that investing just for profits wasn't enough. I had money in a few investment products, an ETF to be specific, that was putting money into companies that I was not in alignment with. And it made me realize that when our focus is too much on profits and returns, we lose ourselves in the process, we lose our what we stand for, integrity, we lose in alignment with values. And I wanted to come back to learning how to invest more intentionally in a way that actually felt good and in a way where I knew that my money was positively making a difference instead of just letting profits lead the way. And the biggest lesson I learned with ethical investing was that, it's not about perfection, but aligning with your money values. So there's this myth that if you invest ethically, you're not gonna make that much profits. It's sort of like the other way around, right? Like, just chase profits, don't worry about creating harm in the world through the companies that you're investing in. Everything will sort itself out. But actually, we're starting to find that intentionally investing in green stocks, investing in stocks that are conscious of their imprint on the world through various different lenses are actually performing just as good as the stocks that don't have a central focus on ethics in their business practices. When I first started investing, which would have been like 20, yeah, 28, 2017, around 2016 to 2017, a lot of people weren't talking about green investing at the time. I didn't, a lot of the stuff that I was reading, the books, so many people just focused on returns, returns, returns. How do you scan for a stock to see if this is going to be a company that is going to be successful, right? Looking at certain indicators, KPIs, how much money do you think you can gain from this in the short term and the long term? And nothing about the impact this company has on the world, on people. What is their mission? What's their ethos? What's their values? And I soon came to realize that actually investing in green companies, investing through an ethical lens, actually can be just as profitable. That is the lie and the myth that they tell you. Investing isn't supposed to be about being heart-centered and caring where your money's going. That can be farther from the truth. So to anyone who feels like I can't invest because then I'm participating in exploiting other people or continuing to perpetuate a system that exploits other people, that isn't 100% true. Although, yes, when you do invest in the stock market, I don't think if you can 100% get away from creating some form of harm. And whether you're investing or even as a consumer, you're going to create harm. There's like no way that you can get around that. Even if you think about nature, like, and the act of killing, you can step outside right now on concrete or on grass, and you've probably stepped on some insect and killed them. Like, it's very hard to go through this life without harming and hurting others. But I think there's a difference when you do it with intention versus when you do it out of ignorance. So if you are hurting people intentionally, that's very different than you doing it out of ignorance. So I think a lot of people, when they are investing, they are harming from a place of ignorance. They don't realize that their money might be funding things that they actually don't stand for. War, poor working conditions, unfair labor practices. So in 2021, Bloomberg Intelligence reported that ESG assets are on track to exceed $53 trillion by 2025. And we're in 2025 now. So I should have actually double checked this statistic to see if it has actually exceeded that $53 trillion mark. But $53 trillion worth of companies that are doing good in this world, or at least trying, and have that at the center of their framework for how they operate their business. So that to me is really exciting, right? That means there's $53 trillion worth of money for you to work with and build wealth for yourself. Morgan Stanley did a comprehensive analysis examining thousands of funds from 2004 to 2018 and found that sustainable funds delivered returns equal to or better than conventional options. Sustainable funds are performing just as well as funds that aren't focused on sustainability. That is such great news to hear. And this was from 2004 to 2018. So at the time when I started investing, I didn't really even see that much, right? So if it was even performing good back then, imagine how well it's performing now. And I just feel like as a collective, there are a lot of people who are becoming more mindful of where their money is going. They want to make sure that it is supporting green companies that are really actively trying to fight against climate change, or at least have that awareness. And so that feels good to me to hear that, to see the statistic. So in knowing that, what I ended up doing the past few years is I came up with my own framework, and it's been this lens through which I decide what stocks to invest in. The framework is called the 3Ps. So I do not invest in anything that doesn't earn a profit, because why would I invest if I'm not making money from it? 2 would be people. I want to make sure that my money is supporting a company that cares about people, how they treat their employees, or ensuring that the service that company brings to this world is not negatively impacting communities, certain groups of people. And then the 3rd P is planet. We have one planet. We all wouldn't be here if it wasn't thriving and existing in the way that it is. And it might not be like this for long. At the rate we are consuming, it's further degrading the planet. So I want to make sure that companies understand that they are ensuring that they are minimizing harm to planet, to nature, to animals, all of that. And that's what feels good to me. And this is what I call the 3Ps framework. So just to kind of break it down a little bit further, how I do this profit-wise, this would be doing a thorough analysis of that company, their financial statements. Usually you would look for certain indicators or KPIs to know, okay, this is a company that I feel comfortable investing in for the long term. Most of my investments are for the long term, whether it's retirement, down payment on a home. So I want to make sure this is profitable. I actually talk about this in more detail, what KPIs and numbers I look at before purchasing a stock. If you want to know more, definitely in the link below, I will share with you my Confident Investor course, a 5-week course I created for beginner investors. Become confident in how they choose their stocks, build out their own portfolio, and ultimately build wealth. And if you're someone that's kind of been dabbling in investments and you feel like you could be doing a better job of maximizing your returns, making a bigger impact, or you're someone who's just like, I don't know where to start, I'm so overwhelmed with investing, how do I start? This is the course for you. Definitely check it out. I'm actually going to drop the link below, but in the link, I will maybe send you to a version of the checkout cart that has a very steep discount. I'll think about it, but go check out the link to see what I end up giving you. But I definitely worth it. Like learning how to have your money work for you by investing in yourself today, priceless. So then, people. So actually, I want to give an example of how I chose a company for profit, or a company that would be a good example that kind of still fits under all 3Ps. It was mainly because I knew this would make money. So Airbnb is a company I have invested in. I always choose companies I'm a consumer of. I have lots of experience staying in Airbnbs. I've traveled all over the world. And so I want to support this company. I want to own shares of this company. And so that's exactly what I did. I purchased as soon as they became an IPO. And I knew that Airbnb would be here for a long time. So profit-wise, looking at certain KPIs, I knew this would be a safe and stable stock for the long term. It might not make me a ton of money short term, but over time it's definitely going to be worth it. And actually it is one of the companies on the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 tracks the top 500 companies in the world. Airbnb is on that list, right? So that's also another way to kind of, another indicator, a way of knowing, okay, I'm kind of safe when it comes to investing in this specific company. It's been in business for a while now. It's been on the stock market for a while. It's stable. Good to go. Also, it's very community oriented. So that kind of leads us into the people aspect of my 3Ps framework. A company that exemplifies this would be Bumble. I never actually invested in Bumble, and it's not really doing good right now. So I wouldn't invest in Bumble because of profits, but I would invest in Bumble because of how they see people, more specifically women. So Bumble was created with this idea that, women weren't feeling safe on certain dating apps and wanted the agency to decide who they wanted to talk to. So it wasn't all these weird random men hitting you up. The woman gets to decide. And so I think that was at first very attractive to women. And actually, I think it's been more attractive to men now, because men are like, I kind of like this. I don't have to risk rejection because this woman liked me first. I didn't have to like her first, right? And I kind of like that. I like that this is centered around women's agency, safety, intentional dating. I give Bumble a thumbs up for that. I saw their impact report on their website the other day because I have a free resource that I created, the Ethical Starter Investor Kit. Check the link below to access that too. And in that kit, there is a case study that I did on Bumble. So if you go and check it out and download it, you will see what that use case is, or the case study is about, and why I gave it a thumbs up, but other concerns that I had too, as to why Bumble might not be minimizing as much harm as they could when it comes to racism within the workplace or tackling discrimination. I think they could do better. A good example of where I've invested, because I thought it would be good for the planet, is Tesla. So Tesla was actually a good one for profit too. It's a bit of both, but planet, because it runs on electricity instead of gas and oil. That was one of the biggest reasons for its popularity when it first kind of came onto the market, when it first eventually became an IPO and was launched publicly on the stock exchange. People really like the idea that this is going to revolutionize the way in which we drive and the way in which we value transportation, and in a way that's supposed to help the planet. We know now that electric cars might not be as better as oil. I still think it's better. It still uses a lot of the Earth's resources. But I think we just eventually need to get to a place where we can gather electricity from renewable sources and create some diversity in that, not just coming from solar or coming from wind, finding different ways to create that energy instead of just relying on oil. So obviously we're still in the process of that. I think the inception of having an electric car was done with good intentions. Obviously Elon thought he was doing good, and I do truly believe that too. And yeah, we just need to be more mindful and know that we can also make progress along the way, and we can tweak things over time when we realize things aren't working as we thought. It's not about being perfect. You might not get it right on the first try. There is extra effort that's involved to ensure that your money is not going into investment products or companies that you don't stand for. And this is everything that I teach inside my Ethical Investor Starter Kit. Just imagine how much of a better world it would be if we all started investing through this ethical lens, ensuring that money was going into more renewable energy practices, just caring more about the treatment of people, just caring more about the treatment of this earth, Mother Nature. And it's almost as similar as tackling it from the angle of consumption, right? Like when you go to buy something, you're voting with your dollar. If you buy a gas car, that shows what kind of world you're supporting, versus like if you're going to buy an electric car, right? Maybe you have better intentions with that and you think it's better for the environment. So the way in which we consume, I believe, it tells me actually a lot about you and what your values are, what you truly care about. And I think if we all collectively put our money towards the things that we truly do care about as a collective, as a human race, naturally, the companies that don't have the best intentions will eventually fall off. They won't get the necessary funding in order to keep operation going. Their liabilities will become bigger, their debts will become bigger, and they will have no choice but to die off. Natural selection. We can be the power and the drive for that natural selection of good companies, conscious, purpose-driven companies that really want to do good but need support. We can be of that support through how we spend our money and through how we invest it. And so I just hope today that this gave you the inspiration. Maybe you were even aware that there was a way to invest ethically. And now that you know, you can go out there and make a better decision, make a better choice from here on out and feel good. That's the biggest thing, like feeling good about where your money is going. You can't top that. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something new, please like and subscribe and share with me in the comments below. Did you know that there is a difference between regular and ethical investing? Are you willing to consider investing through a more ethical lens and ensuring that the investment products that you have your money in are going towards good causes that feel good to you? Are they in alignment with the 3 Ps framework? Share how you feel. I'm open to supporting you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.